All right, so this one's going to get a little touchy, but I think it's important. I see that people are talking about atheism more and more, and that atheism is unstoppable and all this feiwa. The fact is, in my opinion, is that religion never goes away because an all-encompassing idea is needed. Christianity, regardless of what way you want to cut it, was an all-encompassing belief, whether more specifically Catholicism or whether it was Islam. And Islam arguably is still an all-encompassing force, even Christianity to some degree, depending on what sect of Christianity you want to talk about. The fact is, though, is that these systems are needed to define what we live for. I think that people get this mistaken to say, oh, well, people are so accepting of the LGBTQ stuff. Yeah, they are right now, sure. But when you see, like I say, people are not always fooled by that. I think that there are people who, to a point, accept it and may accept some people, but they do not accept the whole LGBTQ community that they see. They may like Ellen, but they will despise RuPaul, right? And of course, I know, oh, but she's whatever. Say what you will, right? Or they will praise, I don't know, I mean, as cringe as it may be, but they'll praise ex-gays like Milo Yiannopoulos, but will despise whoever you want to choose. I can't think of another name. The fact is that the new religion in the United States is the LGBTQ movement. That is the truth. As a whole, that is what it is, with all the disgusting aspects of it. Now, of course, people will say, no, it doesn't mean all that stuff, all the weird stuff and the drinking and the weird Satan stuff and all the, and all the evil stuff that, white gay couples do and whatnot. No, that's not the evil. No, it's not. Once again, it comes down to class, doesn't it? Hold on. Okay. If you want to go, you can go, but you cannot come back. Come on. Let's go. All right. Now, just for a little bit, okay? All right. Okay. We're going to edit that down a little bit. Okay. The issue of class, though. I imagine most gay folks do not have the ability financially to go out and party and drink and hook up with whoever they wanted to, like, say, a George Michael. They didn't have that ability. They don't have that ability. They have to continue to work in a working class society where you have to continue to work and mop up floors, sweep, dig holes, all the stuff that exists today, right? They don't have that ability. people think, I think to a certain degree, think that once you become gay, then you'll be like, you'll just be accepted by people, and it's not always like that. The thing is, the LGBTQ movement is hugely divisive. If you think Christianity and the hatred between Catholics and Protestants runs deep, wait until you get into the LGBTQ movement. The hatred between lesbians versus transgenders and all this other, the TERF stuff and all that other bullshit. Once you get into that, then you realize just how divisive it is. Now, part of this comes from just, I hate to use this term, but I'll use it nonetheless, human nature. And about various groups vying for money and for respect, for legitimacy. In general, I think let's break it down by the basics. The LGBT. I'm not going to even include IA and all this other feiwa. I'm going to just start with that. Lesbians. Why were lesbians the first chosen? Because lesbianism, dare I use that term, but I'll say it nonetheless, is a fairly screw it, I'm just going to say it like this. It's a fairly well accepted fetish for men, mostly. It is. I'm not going to explain that. But that's what I'm going to say. Gays. Well, usually that means gay men. And you think of San Francisco, you think of the gay AIDS. And you think of arrogant men who, particularly one arrogant man who just continued to sleep with folks and just like, even after he knew he was HIV positive and didn't care. And he, like I say, but that's a whole different story, right? But gay men, and of course you go to Israel, they have their large gay rights, their gay pride parade and all that other bullshit. It's ironic, of course. It's another one of the reasons why Israel will eventually crumble. Bisexual. Bisexual just means confused, in my opinion. It also just means, you pretty much just, you want to, bisexual means you want to stay within the binary, if you want to put it that way. If we want to fall into the Vosh trap and all that sort of gender abolition bullshit, you want to stay within the binary of sleeping with one or the other, right? Basically, it's whatever feels good. I mean, that's really what you can break down this whole gay community to be. It's what feels good. I mean, you could say the same thing with drugs or whatever the case may be. It helps you to cope with the realities of the world. I don't bother with that. I take the world with no chaser. Anywho, that's just me trying to make myself sound tough. Transgender. Transgender. Something that in general was not accepted by the larger gay community. I know transgenderism has gone on for hundreds of thousands of years. Doesn't mean it was accepted. And even then, it was something that I think was kind of forced on the rest of the LGBTQ or the LGB movement. Transgenderism, in my opinion, will always be the redheaded stepchild of this group. Because the thing is, you have your butch lesbians. You have your outright gay folks. Bisexuals, they can fit in that category, but in my opinion, just broadly, stereotypically, you can't really tell unless you point blank ask them, and they're willing to tell you. But transgenderism, ugh, that's all you have to say. Ugh. Transgenderism will simply lead to transhumanism. This has been said. Even Tariq Nasheed said it, and he's correct. It will. It will make people become robots, this and that, and become fused with machines. That's all it will. If you take the step to change some part of your body and take pills to artificially change you, it's amazing to me that we'll support, oh, well, we need to fix climate change, this and that. Oh, we need, but we need to trust the Native American. Some people will, but then you'll support transgender. You'll support the artificially created HRT meds that are created by pharmaceutical companies, this and that. This is once again why would you support these things, but then also be like, oh, well, we need to do something about climate change. Oh, but transgenderism is good. Shut the fuck up. You cannot hold those two arguably divergent beliefs. One is going this way, one is going the other. But that's my opinion. But let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to what this was originally about. Religion. Religion has martyrs. As we see here in the pic, we see Joan of Arc. Someone who gave her life, arguably for the state of France, but also for Catholicism. So she was sainted. There are martyrs of Christianity. There are martyrs in Islam. You do not hear about martyrs in atheism. They probably do have them. I'm sure that people will still spurg out and will still love to talk about Christopher Hitchens, right? But Christianity has been destroyed by progressivism. It has been destroyed by these beliefs. And they trick people into these beliefs that, oh, well, we need to support LGBTQ acceptance. We need to have gay pride parades. We need to have, these cross-dressers and their, tranny story hour and all this stuff. That is the religion of the United States, supporting this stuff. There's a reason Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. The U.S. will be destroyed. It will be destroyed. Now, does that mean all the people will die? No. Let me explain when I say destroyed. I'm going to start talking about this in the other video, but this will maybe be a segue. The U.S. will be destroyed. And many people will cry, and they'll say, we didn't accept these things enough. Some people will. They'll say, no, it's the fault of those bigots. It's the fault of those religious people. And they will be beaten. They'll be killed. They'll be kicked out of these large cities. And they'll be forced to live in wayward communities at the edge of the city. Or even, further than that. While things are at least seen as a, party every day or this and that, where it's just like, we are so accepting of LGBTQ stuff. The reality is that once again, it's only accepted by a few. Or it will be given lip service to the rest because they want to keep their jobs. They may even have relatives that are LGBT, right? So they feel that way about it. Is what happened with people like Cheney, right? The fact is that atheism is never completely one thing. What do I mean by that? Atheism is simply a reaction to Christianity. That's how it started out. It started out as a reaction to Christianity. You have people like Feuerbach, who I will try to read. I'll try to find Feuerbach's work. He was one of the more prominent atheist thinkers, I would argue. I'm sure people could go back further, but that's what I'm going to start with. That's the line I'm going to start in. And goes from there, right? Marx and Lenin and Engels were all influenced by Feuerbach. As Lenin said, I always like to read this quote because it speaks to the truth of his form of socialism. We follow the, I'm going to paraphrase it here, but basically we follow the Feuerbach line. We are dialectical materialists. We are positively against religion. It's that simple. Of course, the thing is that religion didn't end, and that ultimately a simple love of the state could not stir people up enough to defend the Soviet Union when the Germans invaded in 1941. Well, Germans, Romanians, Belgians, etc., etc. Like I said, most of Western Europe. Put it that way. Trying to be fair. I'll spread the guilt out. They called on the Russian Orthodox Church to a point. They called on Alexander Nevsky. Stalin had enough sense to not simply say, well, we need to destroy religion completely. No. The fact is that once Stalin came into power, he kind of curtailed what Lenin was trying to do. Much the same way as Deng Xiaoping reversed what Mao Zedong did. Getting rid of Confucianism. Now, Confucianism is not a religion. It's more of a lifestyle. It is a, like filial piety, this and that, right? But Buddhism is returning. The folk religions of China, to a point, are returning. Obviously, you're not going to have Falun Gong, but Falun Gong is more of a modern incarnation, which is, But folk religions that support the state as it is, they get to play along. Look at the Shaolin Temple. But anyway, move on from that, though. Is religion always finds a way to come back. The Russian Orthodox Church came back. Portugal did not get rid of Catholicism. These beliefs continued to exist. So religion never really goes away because you need these beliefs. And right now, the religion of the LGBTQ movement is a current religion, at least in the mainstream, right? And people are buying it, partly because it's forced on people, partly because they want to keep their jobs. It's not that they actually believe it, but they'll give lip service to it. But I believe that there will be a reversal. And that there will be many events, murders, whichever that you want to say, that were committed by LGBTQ folks, whatever, who will reverse the image of these things. So am I saying that, Christianity will win ultimately? No. What I'm saying is that it's ebbs and flows. Nobody ever really wins. Nobody ever really loses. It's all temporary. Because life is temporary. There's an afterlife. And while I have made many, many sinful choices in my life, I still have belief in God. I still have a belief that God guides me. And I know people are going to be like, ooh, careful. You're right. I'm not going to go much further than that, but I'll just say, yes, that's how I feel. There's some things that you cannot explain. People just say, oh, it's serendipity or whichever, but I'd like to believe it's God guiding me. Maybe that's more of a Calvinist or maybe a Protestant belief, so apologies. But I believe that there are some things that you are pushed to do. I'm going to end with this, is that winning and losing, souls or whatever the case may be, is something for the higher-ups to think about. Helping people the best that you can is really the only goal you need to have. It is the only goal that you should care about, is helping people to try to live better lives. And I think that's all I have to say on that. I kind of went all over the place because I am schizo. I think this will give me a good line into some other videos that I'm going to be recording here. So I will say thank you very much for listening. Enjoy your day. And God bless.